The first Mimi of 2020 is Word Work Witness, True Amelioration. Don't Sue Mimi is a Parody, presented by Irene Ratliff. You see that there's an image about Barbara Walters, and she is known for 2020, whereas the GIF is a bitmap image where you see the rat chasing the cat. So the cat is running, right? So this one actually moves. So a lot of people are familiar with that whenever they're trying to um, do a GIF via your cellular phone. Um, and then you may see them on social media. Memes are actually something that is a phenomenon in social media. So you could take a picture and then put a few words on it, and it's typically supposed to be something fun. Okay? Here, I actually have put some pictures together. It's not really all that funny in character, but it has something to do with project development or community development. And I'm like, okay, well, listen, how I'm gonna present this, and I wanted to do some shapes and this, that, and the other. So I try to put some pictures together, and the pictures was of the four corners of where I would like to have potential work. So it's even though it is a meme, it's not really a funny meme. It's more like a business meme, but it is a meme. Sweet Brown, she would say, I don't got time for that. Well, when she was actually interviewed, her video went viral. So there were people who were kind of gravitated to how she was presenting herself and then trying to explain the story. Well, she actually become very popular and was invested with. And you'll see Sweet Brown, and now we see Kimberly Wilkins, Sweet Brown. And so, anyway, a lot of people have made videos, they made gifs and memes of Sweet Brown. I don't got time for that. As you see here, this is another meme. And it says here, well, the first woman in history to turn a princess to a frog. Well, a lot of people are familiar with Harry and Meghan, Dutch and Duchess of Sussex. Well, anyway, there is a fine line with all of that. And I mean, there is the scope of me is not to actually restrict people from access to doing certain things, but there are, fair use and copyright um, rules and laws. Fair use and copyright. Well, here you see that copyright.gov actually, um, this is if you have pictures or any kind of pictures, photographs, you are able to go to copyright.gov and um, make some kind of claim on your or protection for your pictures. Okay, so with your pictures, I mean they are protected. You could do X amount of them, and they will protect your pictures from actually being. I don't want to say meme. Depends on the context of what is it that you're trying to do. But their copyright.gov will be able to help you if you want to protect your photographs. So looking here, copyright.gov, there is the 37 CFR, and this is actually about fees, okay? So the fees range from $25 all the way up to $500. So depending on what is it that you would like to do. Now you can register 10 unpublished, let's say on the same 10 pictures on or unpublished pictures on the same application. And if you have group pictures, like 750 pictures, unpublished and published, copyright.gov will do your we'll accept your registration for it, right? So as long as everything is okay. Now I'm gonna let you know right now that it is a tedious process. When I looked at the application wanted so much information that um, a lot of information in regards to when, where, why, how, what camera, where, where was it located? Do you have an ID? So when you look at your camera, they actually do have a stamp on it. Okay, they have the date, the time. Some of them have location. So all this information needs to be readily available, and you submit it through the online process, or you could go to their office, and I mean, it'll be in the process of protecting your photographs. Now, as I said, that there is protection, okay? So copyright law said it can afford, right, to help the original person or the original author, the artist, to protect their work. Okay, so as long as somebody is there trying to protect their work, I mean, it could be from books, plays, graphics, a list of different things. And if you see here from area literary work from 1 through 8, it actually provides just that. Okay, so there is protection for people, pictures, and their art. Well, there's the thing. There's fair use. So here's another meme with Donald Trump, and it says, "We'll pick a winner." I don't know if y'all see that, but I see it. Pick a winner, Donald Trump. So anyway, the fair use is applied to people who want to take pictures at fair use. It shouldn't be anything that's, defamating or anything. If it's something that's fun, light, it can be used. There are conversations of limitations as it relates to copyright. But the thing is that there is a very big right for fair use, okay? But don't forget, we do have copyright laws, okay? So, but there is a fair use doctrine as well that helps protect people that want to use pictures. Now, again, we got to be kind of careful how we want to use that so it's not so loose. So it depends on the subject matter, okay? So in the scope of the copyright. So there is limitations on exclusive rights, okay? So the scope of it, it says different things, like if it's nonprofit, if it's what's the nature of it, are you making any money? Things of that nature. So from that scope, I mean, it becomes lighter. So let's kind of move it so that it can be really, really seen in such a way where we can somewhat understand the scope. So it has to be somewhere in how you're using it, right? Is it educational? Is it satire? Is it Are you making money? you know, um, is it commercial? So anyway, it depends on the size of it. Is it new work? Have you changed much of the new work from the author? So as a meme, you could take a picture and then you could say, okay, there's with that picture you can change it, but what is the information, the context? Is the picture is it copyrighted? How is it working with a star? Is it working with somebody who's popular or somebody who's unpopular? It is a case by case situation, though. Case by case. It is. So we'll see here, we're going to have a couple of cases that we're going to look at, okay? The case of Walk and Kodak imaging. Well, Miss Sheila Walk, she actually has her work protected, and you can see a lot of her work on the internet. So if you're interested, please, I encourage you. She has some phenomenal pictures that, that are actually posted, and she has her website. But what it is that because of the nature of her work, she actually is part of a larger scope with the with copyrights and fair use. And she I think that there was a well not think there's Photo Bucket relationship with Photo Bucket and Kodak. She thought that maybe perhaps that they were actually over crossing over the boundaries of her work. So what it was is that she wanted to sue them for infringement, so she actually does work with the sports industry and her own personal data or yeah, data of work. So this particular case is she was actually well protected in her scope with dealing with um, imaging her work and so on and so forth, where she wants to. Yes, you can find her case um, from the New York. This is another case where it's actually focused on Kimberly Bonnart, and this was a little different. Okay, she's a teacher, and her being an instructor, she saw that the kids had posted a meme on the internet about her. Okay, so she had presented a case, a claim that that she felt harassed at the school. So along with the harassment, she wanted to sue the school and the about her picture being on the internet. But in itself, that wasn't just entirely it. But for this particular mention of the case, the archdiocese actually had worked with their staff to find out who had posted the meme on the internet. Okay, so it kind of went into a lot of different areas as it related to not only the protection, but an individual who was trying to pursue something that was not protected, like we had saw in Mrs. Walk case. That this one was like, I'm a teacher, these kids are harassing me or they're doing bad things, and I just saw here it is a sexual graphic thing on the internet. I'm going to sue the school. I'm contacting the bishop. So anyway, they had tried to work out a resolve, and where this particular rule arise, which the rule implied for Walk and Bonart, was the summary judgment. Okay, so with the summary judgment, there was the conversation of the material being presented, the when, where, why, and how, and that in scope. When you see the procedures of what evidence is being presented for the argument, and for with that argument, is it admissible, and what is the standing for the particular material that they're presenting. So we have procedures which falls under Rule 56, Procedure C, and also E. Okay, so E is failing to properly submit or address the fact. So the fact goes into what item is being presented. Is it disputed? Um, now you're going into technology. We got to find out whatever it is that somebody is saying, and then we do. Almost most major cities actually have um, internet police, cybersecurity. Okay, so if it's something that is really derogatory, sexual in nature, they will try to find it. Okay, so if it's something that's sexually oriented, dealing with kids, things of that, dealing with some other kind of really, really graphic kind of meme, it can be found. Okay, so if you're presenting it, make sure that you have your everything in place so that the material can be emitted. Okay. Now, as I said, it's unethical. Well, there's ethics involved, rather. There is some ethics involved. So to look at the ethics and it being unethical. As I said before, if you're looking at someone who is popular, you really don't see a lot of, let's say, stars, having memes on their personal stuff. So if it's something personal, like they're out on vacation and a paparazzi take pictures and start trying to post it, well, I'm gonna let you know, honey, popular people are gonna want to sue. Okay, popular people want to sue. Okay, to say, well, listen, here, these people done did this. The paparazzi done posted photos of me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now there are some people who actually get money for photographs. They get photo shoots, and there's actually um, restrictions or approvals, and they get paid for family photos or to participate with someone who is getting paid at an activity or a function, right? So when we begin to look at that particular area of someone who is a commoner, and I'm gonna let you know right now that there's fair use, anything dealing with children too. So children are almost kind of like in that area with someone of that is very popular, okay, as it relates to protection. Um, some of us may have signed like a little document that says, okay, well, your photo is going to be maybe published. They have you do that so that they can have copyright over their activity and you participating. Okay, so there are ethics involved with it. However, it is unethical if you're finding your photo being memed or just floating around without it being in, let's just say, satire or just fun and funny, that it can be pursued, okay? And it can be pursued, especially if the person had copyrighted it, okay? So there's a lot of pictures that are out there on the internet that that has a right to be protected. So the remedies are included um, in regards to infringement. So if it's been copyrighted, I mean, the author can actually sue for damages and profits. And if there's statutory damages, the courts have an opportunity to do up to 150,000 and to $200. In closing, the best way to avoid a lawsuit or copyright infringement is do your research, people. I'm telling you, copyright.gov is on it, okay? So, and avoid defamation and potential claim, okay? So, anyway, I mean, a Parody meme maker can assert fair use as a defense to copyright infringement. Thank you, Irene Ratliff.